Okay, so this is how you install a solid state drive, a 2.5-inch solid state drive into an ASUS X541 laptop. I believe it's called an ASUS Vivobook X541N laptop. And so what we'll do is install a 128GB solid state drive, Toshiba, and upgrade it to 8GB of RAM, DDR3. So all that we need to start is a Phillips head screwdriver and a little bit of time. So I'll start by removing, I believe, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 screws. And I'm unsure if I need to take these rubber bumpers off and see if there's a screw under there, but we'll find out. So, start a time lapse. So now that we have all these screws taken out, I believe we can start scoring the palm rest. And what I have here is just a thicker guitar pick and something that won't scratch the plastic and something that won't break the plastic tabs very easily. It kind of feels like this has been opened before. It's coming apart pretty easy, which is nice. We'll just have to see. I think we're actually good. Okay, that was surprisingly easy. So we have the palm rest completely off. All it took was taking off those screws and not digging under rubber pedals or anything like that. So we just have to remove the ribbon cable for the keyboard and the palm rest, which I'll show in a second once I get the touchpad, I should say. So what we have here, this is our ribbon cable for the keyboard, and the skinny one is for the touchpad. Easy enough to replace, or to remove, I should say. And so here's our access for our hard drive. This fan's looking pretty dusty. I'll probably give that a clean. And that looks like the extent of our upgrade. I don't see the RAM slot, so I'm guessing the RAM slot is underneath the system board. So we'll just have to take that apart. We have this tiny battery up here too. It's interesting. Okay, I think I'll start by taking the hard drive out. Okay. And now I'll just zoom into the system board here so we can get a better view. And it looks like we just have a few screws to take out. It's no big deal. A lot of them will probably have, arrows. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws to take out. Start up here. Looks like I'm going to take the Wi-Fi card out as well. I think it'll make it easier. I need to take off the cables. Looks like I can just pull it right out, set it off to the side. And of course we remove this ribbon cable here. And Let's see, we'll unplug the fan too. Speaker cable, I'm guessing, is what that is. I'll leave that for a second. I'm not sure I need to unplug that. Oh, I do need to remove this heatsink cover though, because that little tiny latch there is on top of the board. Alright, no problem. I wanted to do that anyway to see if I could clean out some dust. It looks like there's one screw here to take out the battery. I'm going to try that right now. I probably should have done that. I should pause and say I probably should have done that to begin with before disconnecting all the cables. But I think I'll be okay. Okay, I forgot to turn the camera back on, but all I did was disconnect this cable here for the LCD display and gently lift up. I'll zoom in a little bit. Gently lift up from the battery connection right here. And just gently lift it up, just like that. And now we'll take a look at the system board. So one thing that I didn't realize before I didn't really research or look into this laptop at all. I just started taking it apart. I figured maybe the RAM slots would be on the underside of this tiny little board. Turns out the RAM is soldered on. I cannot upgrade it. The only thing I'm going to be able to do is replace this hard drive with the solid state drive, and I'm going to clean the fan. So I'm going to time lapse me putting this board back in, and then I'm going to clean the fan. So unfortunately, that's just going to have to be the life of this laptop is that much shorter, unfortunately. Alright, here we go. I'm going to put it right back in. Now I'm going to take off this top case for the fan and we're going to clean all that dust out. Okay, let's get a bit of a zoom in going here. Looks like we have a screw right here and right here. I'm guessing that's connected to this metal part to try and force this top piece off. It's not actually screwed down and easily accessible, so I'm just gonna pretty well reach whatever I can. So I've got some of this isopropyl alcohol and some Q-tips. Okay, well, it's not so bad, and I think that's about as good as it's going to get. So I'm going to stick this back in. Interesting laptop design. This is definitely a version that doesn't have an optical drive. No support for updating RAM. I can appreciate the aesthetic, but I at the same time appreciate this type of laptop being sold to the average consumer that will just have to replace it within a short amount of time, being that you can't really do anything with it once it starts really slowing down, and that's not cool. Just a disposable thing. But that doesn't mean it's a bad laptop. It is nice. It does look nice. And still get the most out of it that we can. If I can just hold on to these screws, that'd be great. So yeah, while it is a nice looking laptop and it does perform fairly well, I personally wouldn't purchase something like this. I'd be happy to use it if that's all I had. But overall, I would just save your money for something that's going to be of little more use. Unless you're in a pinch. In this case, I believe the client got this for free, so free is definitely a good number. Alright, let's get this fan plugged back in. Let's get this solid state drive installed. Alright, let's take the hard drive out of the caddy and put in the SSD. Okay, so let's plug it in, and if you're curious at all, or if you lose track of where you need to put a screw, just look for the little tiny arrow. Same with all the little arrows on the motherboard. That just indicates that that's where a screw. Excuse me, that's where a screw goes, and the rest of the areas, that's where a screw will be put in from underneath, from the laptop case. Okay, we're ready to plug the keyboard and palm rest back in and reinstall the palm rest. Okay. Try to get a good shot of this.
Okay.
Okay, sorry that's a little hard to see. I didn't feel like repositioning the camera. It's just plugging the ribbon cable back into the system board. Okay, before I snap the palm rest back in, I'm going to boot up my Windows 10 USB and just make sure that the palm rest and the keyboard are both working. Alright. I apologize for the way the LCD looks. Maybe I can fix that a little bit by making it brighter. Oh, can't do that right now. That's okay. Anyway, you see that the keyboard does appear to work, and also the touchpad is working as well. So I'm gonna pause the video just for a moment. Okay, we're ready to snap the palm rest back in place. We'll just do that by gently pressing down and scoring along the entire palm rest until it's all snapped down and back in place. Okay, perfect. So anyway, our next step is to reinstall Windows 10, and we'll see how much of an improvement the solid state drive makes. Okay, so we're back and we're ready to install Windows. I have my Windows 10 USB plugged in, and let's just do a quick BIOS check. So turn it on. I'm not too sure which key to hit, so I'll just hit escape for now. See what happens. Okay, now we have the option to either select the USB or enter setup. Enter setup. We have a kind of interesting BIOS interface. Looks kind of slick. So it looks like the only thing that I want to change here is the date. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And it looks like the option is just right up here. There's a little pen beside it to edit. Definitely not 2017. Now let's load up Windows. We'll get to installing it right away. Okay, so we'll just hit F10 to save and exit. Apologies for the blinking screen here. I don't really have a option right now to make it any brighter. It just looks terrible right now. Alright, so here we are at the boot screen. And I'll just show off again what I like to do before I start any install onto a fresh drive. So you can do this right on this screen, or any screen before you start installing Windows. You just have to hit Shift F10 to access command prompt. And we want to enter disk partition in command prompt, and we do that by typing disk part. Okay, and we saw in BIOS that both the USB and the solid state drive were recognized. So we should have no problem. And we want to type list, disk, enter, and we have disk 0 as the solid state drive. We want to select disk 0, and we'll clean. Type clean, enter. I know it was already cleaned off, but just to force a habit. And now that we're done, we can type exit. And we're good to go. Okay, so in this case the product key activated by itself, so it didn't have to enter it in. So we go to custom install, and we already have the drive wiped and ready to go, so just hit next and we're ready to install. And I'll come back with a test of the system, and we'll see how well it operates with the solid state drive installed and whether or not there's a marked improvement. Okay, so Windows 10 is installed, and it's pretty snappy, nice and fast, looking pretty good. I'm going to run some updates. That's what I typically do as soon as Windows loads. just by hitting the Windows key and typing update. And we will begin that process, and I'll come back with a test and we'll see how the system works. With all the Windows updates now installed, let's see how quickly this boots, and we'll do a little benchmark test as well, and maybe video streaming test. Alright, so far it's looking pretty good. And we'll just use the user benchmark. It's quick and easy, and this laptop is not going to be used for playing a lot of games or a ton of multitasking, so just a simple benchmark I think will do the trick. But already we're seeing some pretty good performance. Alright, let's see how it rates to other PCs and laptops. Okay, so as we can see, it's definitely not set up for gaming. It got a 2% tree trunk score. Desktop, it got a jet ski score. And let's see, overall this PC is performing as expected in the 59th percentile. Out of 100 PCs, 41 perform better. Processor with a below average single core score. CPU can handle email, web browsing, and audio video playback, but it will struggle to handle modern 3D games. To be expected. Graphics, too low to play 3D games. That's totally fine. I don't think it's going to be used for that. The boot drive is a reasonable SSD score. That's good. Especially because it's a refurbished SSD. Memory just is what it is. It's soldered onto the board, and nothing we can really do about that. And of course Windows 10 is a good OS pick for this laptop. So overall I think this laptop will perform pretty well, just for basic general use, plus a little bit more. Okay, we'll also do a quick video streaming test. We'll just see how quickly you can load up YouTube and get a video playing. Okay, very little delay. Looks pretty good. Alright, that's looking pretty good to me. I don't have a lot of different software installed on this thing to really test a lot of multitasking, but I have a feeling it'll be okay. And also based on our benchmark score, I think this will be a pretty good little upgrade. So anyway, hopefully this video helped you out, and hopefully you learned something. And if you have any questions, you can always feel free to leave a comment. And if you have any feedback, that'd be great. Or if you did anything else with this particular laptop, let me know. I'd like to see what other types of upgrades are available. Other than that, have a nice day and thanks for watching.